Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your moderator for this evening, Editor-in-Chief of The Cut, Lindsay Peoples.
Hi, everyone. Hello. Hello. I'm so happy to be here tonight. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you all to everyone who's been putting everything on for this week. The Cut, we are so excited to be one of the sponsors and media sponsors, so I just wanted to say a big thank you to the teams because I know it's such an undertaking and it's been such a beautiful week already. I'm very excited for this conversation. I'm not sure if y'all have seen the documentary with Bethann Hardison, but she is a hoot, a good time. We're gonna have some fun with some questions here. I want to do a short intro because she'll hate if I do it long. I call her Mama B. You know her as Bethann Hardison, but she is a pioneering fashion model, agent, activist, documentarian. Her career has spanned more than 5 decades. I have seen her in action do some incredible things, and I'm very excited for y'all to see the documentary tonight, Invisible Beauty. Bethann Hardison, do you want to join us?
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you. Is it on? Yes. Thank you.
Hi, Mama B. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
That some people haven't seen the documentary, so I kept my questions a little general, but if you want to give details, by all means. I want to start with what you felt like was really hard for you to put in your story, from your story on the screen, I'm sorry. Was there anything that you hesitated to put into this, or that you felt like you were a little bit nervous about, that you had to say and you just weren't sure how it was going to actually be in the film and be received?
It's a very good question. No, there was nothing. My co-director, which is Frederick Chang, he mastered the editing, and he had 7 hours of footage that he really, really loved. Was it completely impossible? No. So he showed me 4 hours, and that's when I really, honestly, seeing the footage that he had put together, you know, from all that we had done, that's when I really knew I had a story. I for the first time seeing it, so there was nothing that was either in that I thought shouldn't be. Because it's not really like my life. It's like a moment in time.
I have seen you in many times.
I really wish I could see y'all. Oh, there you are. You know, these glasses make a difference, right?
You wanted to wear the glasses. I asked you backstage.
I know. But I need to see. I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
I have seen you many times in my life really push to move the industry forward behind the scenes, which I think a lot of people, we've had many conversations around how a lot of people talk a big talk around that, but actually don't do those things in the rooms that they need to, and aren't willing to really have a lot of those hard conversations. What is it like for you to continue to be that person decade after decade for many generations? Do you feel the weight of it?
Well, I don't have the talk like you all talk about the talk. I mean, I'm here to educate, so I believe in the guy I'm talking about and to, so it's a little different for me. I say that because it's not like I work in a corporation where I have to worry. I come out of the garment industry. It's a little different situation. So for me, I always, you know, I just saw at some point where I was coming from and where I knew I existed. I just saw that my industry was going in a rabbit hole. There were things that had changed so much, like we all of a sudden had casting directors for the designers, stylists for the designers. A lot of people came from foreign places as well. So for me, it was like seeing my industry being choked. And then they started to go on so long being in a position where they were just not incorporating diversity. And I thought that was really something that we had never experienced before. I was a runway model. You know, in runway models, we had Black, Asians, everybody. So for me, I just sort of thought it was a time I had the courage to speak up, and I was being asked, please, somebody, please, Mama, you got to say something, you got to say something. And I just knew I could be the person to do it, and so that's the reason why it was. I can't wait for you to see the film. I really can't. I'm so happy to be here. I really am, and for this audience to see it.
Is there, I mean, there are many pivotal moments in it, but is there something that you want us to kind of take away, or that you feel like you took away from it and now seeing it so many times?
Wait, I mean, no, I think, look, I'm very proud of it. And I worked with a very good team. And we had grants in the beginning, and then we got into the Sundance Catalyst program, and we got the support from investors. And I mean, you know, when you see something that you're a part of and you really bring a lot to it, but you don't think you do, you think that everybody else is doing the work, but you really are too. And then you see something come out so good that everyone loves it. And then you just sit back and you just go, that doesn't mean money, that just means good. No, it really I'm very proud of it.
You should be. In watching it now, obviously a lot of the conversations that are in the documentary around diversity, inclusivity in the industry, how do you feel like that's changed with the industry now? So much has changed even since the documentary has been out in the industry overall.
In what way has it changed?
Just the talk around DEI in industries and a lot of those roles changing. Do you feel any differently about industry and the advancements that it's made? Since a lot of that is in the film, but a lot has changed since the film was out.
Well, just to be clear, I never talked DEI.
Oh, I know. That's why I said it.
That was a trick question, huh? Okay. So I never talked DEI because that belonged to somebody else. It never belonged to us and me. Yeah, that's a trick, right? That's a trick. Thank you for those who clapped. Because in the end of the day, no, I think I think the things that were made to be different, we made a big difference. You know, all of us who sort of stepped up. I had a huge crew, but a good crew of people who you never saw. I was the front of the band. There were people who were agents and models, casting directors, people who did hair, makeup. They would tell me everything that was going on, and I was just the one who was running it. And the fact of it is that I think that what it is now is to me, is good. I hear people saying, yeah, but it's changing. There's a little less girls of color. And I go, no, they've gotten it down to the ones who should be there. I don't see it as less. I see it as appropriate. But there was so much, you know, sometimes they get carried away. When they get pushed in one way, they overdo. And then they do so much. And then I get annoyed because I say, okay, now watch, they're going to shift. And then I get scared they're going to go the other direction. But it hasn't gone enough of the other direction for me to be concerned. I still have my foot on the clutch, but I'm feeling good still about it. Do you feel good about it?
Depends on the day.
See, an editor. She was so young when I knew her, and she's now grown up.
Thank you.
So beautiful.
I appreciate that. She called me a firecracker the first time we met.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's true.
I have two selfish questions on here. I've known you to never shy away from conflict or discomfort. Where does that come from? Because I think a lot of this and watching this, it does take courage to do this kind of project, to have the opinions that you have and to stand behind them. Where do you think that really comes from?
I think sometimes people are born to do certain things, and I really do think that about me. You have to believe in the other guy in order to sort of sometimes have success. The other guy is the one you have to approach. You have to believe that he's ignorant. You have to believe that he doesn't understand. So if you go in with a point of thinking you're educating, it's quite different than accusing. And that's the difference I think that I make.
one of the highlights that you all will see part of the film is that you've mentored so many models, creators, et cetera. How does it feel seeing their reflections of you and their opinions of working with you?
What did you see? What did you see? Did I miss something? What did you see?
All the people in the film.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm catching up now. I got nervous. No. You mean the ones that are in the film that speak in my behalf?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. No, it's wonderful. I mean, what do you mean by this question?
Like, what was it like to see people talk about you and the influence that you had on their career?
It's always, like I said about earlier, and I said that you never think you had a story. And this is very true. And people were saying, well, how could you have thought that you didn't have a story? Because you're busy doing the work. But that the fact that you actually, when you walk away from it, someone wants to capture what you did, and you have to bring significant others in to help tell the story, then you start to see what it is that you really did. I mean, I learned a lot about myself. Believe it or not, I learned about myself watching this film. That it really let me see how it happened, what I did. And like I say, we often say, many people have seen it, have said that it's not a fashion film. It's a film that has so many layers. Do you agree?
I agree, yeah.
It has so many layers that in so many ways. There's sometimes we'd go and talk at film festivals, and the Q&As would happen. A lot of women talk to me just about being a single mother and raising a male child, and how I stepped away and just did what I had to do, and how hard it is for them to feel the ability to be able to just do their life and not be so guilty about not taking care of their, and feeling guilty about, like, why am I looking out for myself, thinking more about you got it, and watching me do what I did, they all sort of spoke about it. So it's very interesting how the film has layers that many people find different things about it. Mm-hmm. I'm really so I am happy about everyone who spoke about me in any kind of way, because they helped me to remember what had happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things I've always thought this, but then I think in watching it many times, and watching you in real life, I think that you do hard things really well, and you are able to hard things really well.
Yeah, hard things.
And you're able to carry them, I think, in a way that it doesn't seem so heavy.
Yeah.
You're very lighthearted. How are you able to keep that sense of joy and positivity? Because I do think that is also part of what is so big in the film.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's believing the other. I always do. I think now that it's a lot of things happen. I was scared at times. I'd be straight with you. Because,
When?
No, it took 4 years for me to do what I did. It took getting called from Naomi. I said, come on, you have to come back. I was in Mexico, laying in my hammock, drinking tequila.
Every time I call her, but yeah.
Yeah. And I just kept getting these calls from New York. You got to come back. You got to see what's happening. It was just like it just never was changing. And I get back, and then 1 year I'd say, okay, I got to do this. I got to, because you're getting ready to do something that's, no one's done it before. You don't have anybody you have to go to and say, how did you do this? You have no one to go and speak to about it. It's just you. And you know that you're the one that has to do it, because I'm the one who believes that it can change. I really believed it. I really didn't, and I don't believe that my industry was racist. I believe they were ignorant. And I really, honestly, could live with a racist better than I could live with a person who was just basically ignorant. And that's the reason why I could just do it, because I just felt so strongly that my industry was in trouble. They were being choked by something. I grew up as a fashion model. I grew up with designers, and I had a full-time job the whole time I modeled. I had another job, but I always was allowed to go out and work with other designers. And when you think that you only work with designers and you didn't have a casting director, an assistant telling them, or a stylist telling them who to book, it changed, the industry changed. I stayed within my mind how the industry was and who was no longer having a voice, which was the designers. And they lost their way. And that's all I stayed on, that they lost their way. And here I come to save the day. No. I couldn't help it.
That was a good note, though.
You remember that on Saturday Night Live? No, okay. No, but it became that, you know, I was scared. I told you, I was really, I mean, I wasn't scared. I was just like, okay, I got to do it. And it's just like, okay. And you know you're getting ready to go up against the international and national industry. And I had Women's Wear Daily on my side. That's our trade paper. I knew that. And I just pulled together a press conference and had certain people come. And I just sat in front of everybody, and you'll see. And I just spoke 10 things that I felt I was disturbed by the industry. And it just took off. And we stayed on it. We had to stay on it because as soon as you know, they were saying no blacks, no ethnics. All the casting directors were saying that to the model agencies. So the model agencies would have to tell the kids of color, you know, I'm sorry, they're not seeing black models, or they're not seeing Asian models, they're not seeing Latin models this time. And so the models will say, okay, and you know, we just had to accept it. Nah. So then we switched that gear. And I promise you, the first press conference I had, you never heard that again. They never have ever to this day said that again. But it doesn't change the fact they still don't use you. And so the model agencies were, I didn't blame them. I knew they were in a trick. When I was a model agent, we didn't have all these problems because we didn't have casting directors and stylists telling the designers what to do. And the models could become muses to them, you know, like the Yves Saint Laurents and the Calvin Kleins and all. And those times changed, and that's when you knew that you had to try and see what you can do to change that, because you could see that something was going in the wrong direction. And soon as, you'll see the film, but soon as something happened, things changed like that.
I want to make sure we talk about the foundation as much as you can talk about that right now, because it's not in the film, but we talked about this at the Gordon Parks Foundation award ceremony, and what you candidly say about it. I know you're still in some development around it, but I think it's important to talk about because you are still committed to doing the work and giving back your time, even after giving us this gift. And so I wanted to make sure you had some time to tell us about the foundation.
Well, the Bethann Hardison Foundation, it was pushed upon me, honestly, as everything is. Someone always makes me do something. By a young man who spent 15 years in prison. And he's out of Leimert Park. And in working with Gucci, we were able to give him and his company a grant. And then we did a block party, and I got to meet him. And after a while, we always stayed in communication. He said, you know, you have to do a foundation. Because you've done so much work, you should leave a legacy behind. You know, an active, not just just not like, oh, you remember her, you know, she did so-and-so. Not that kind of legacy, but active. And I could sort of make sense of it. So what it is that I have really felt for all the creative people that are out there, especially in my industry, which is mostly at this stage of my life, you know, fashion designers. They have no clue about business, most of them. This foundation is to sort of really teach and educate those who are creative about business, the basics of business, because most of these designers will never get a business partner. I grew up, luckily, around Calvin Klein and Barry Schwartz. Barry Schwartz was his business partner. Calvin was a designer. I also had the opportunity of working very closely with Valentino and Giancarlo Giametti. Giancarlo Giametti did all the business. Valentino did the design. These young people coming out, and there's so many designers now coming out, getting grants, holding on by dear life, they need to know, some of you need to just hang it up. Thank you. Thank you for understanding that I'm right. They just need to, I'm trying to encourage, I want to go to fashion schools and tell a lot of people, this is part of what I want to do as a foundation. The foundation is going to be doing many great things of educating. But I want to go to schools and tell some students, student body, that they really, really should consider and know that the fashion industry is a trade. You have to learn everything about it. But more importantly, consider the fact that maybe you should learn to be an electrician.
It's a hard
This is real. This is real. And people tell me, oh, you can't do that. Yes, I can. You can't do it. I can. So you should be a plumber. I'm telling you, construction is not going to die. Being a little, thank you, daughter. The idea that you still want to create and be glamorous is limited. And these schools are just not doing what they used to do. I talked and had a conversation with Mark Jacobs about this. And he, because I asked him to come on and be on my board. And he said, I appreciate what you're saying, Bethann, but I could never discount someone's dream. I can. I have no problem telling you. Please. There's a vocational school right down the street. And why are you wasting your time? Because I'm telling you, this is the way to go. If you see what's going on in our country, if you can see what's happening in the world, how many grants are you going to get? You're not. You're just believing the hype. At some point, and Mark said to me, it's interesting you're saying this. He said, because when I went to Parsons, he said, they never told us that we could be designers. They taught us everything. Like, they weren't using computers then. They taught them how to drape, how to make patterns, everything. And what they would say to them, Mark told me, is they would say, and if one day you learn everything we've taught you here, maybe you could become an assistant to a designer like Perry Ellis, Willie Smith. He said they never encouraged that we could become successful. So the idea now, here we've gone, and now schools are making money. And I'm not mad at that, but I want these kids who are in there to hear something else, because it's important. And I don't want to stop at fashion, because I think that chefs, musicians, artists could learn about business. It's not limited. It's limited to the creatives. Creatives really all want to just make music, or they just want to have a restaurant, or they just want, but they don't have the business acclimates, and that's what the foundation is about. Did I talk long? Okay. Thank you. I got lost in it.
You can fact check me on this. I'm sure you will, if this quote is right. If you said, I'm not trying to be remembered, I'm trying to get things done, correct?
Oh, yeah, that sounds like I could say that.
No,
yeah, it sounds like me a little bit. Yeah.
But I actually want to push you on this, because a little bit of a selfish question, but I remember so many things about the work that you've done, and I think this film does that. So is there something that you do want us to remember, or you do want us to think a little bit more on? Because every time I watch it, I get different gems, to be honest with you. I get different things that I think about. But is there something that's currently stuck with you that you've been thinking about more on it, or that you want us to think more on, meditate on?
I want to do a one-woman show.
Oh, yes, I remember.
I do. Scared to death to do it, but I would love to stand and do it. But I would like to do it where I don't have to write all the jokes and stuff like that and stuff like that. It's not going to be comedic. But it's just talking. And I like to make it interaction with the audience. But that's my desire, to have something good that I'd like for me. I would like to do a short film. These are things I like. I'm not going to do them.
You've been talking about you may do this stand-up.
No, I might do the stand-up, yeah, because I've been saying it. But I would like to make another short film. Because I met a woman, I want to tell you this quick story. I met a woman in London when I went there to show the film in London at the V&A. I met a woman who gave me a dinner. And when she came to talk to me, she stayed very away from all of us talking and stuff. Eventually, towards the end of the night, she came and sat and talked to me. And she gave me her background. I'm going to tell you. Oh, no, I don't want to tell you because you're going to steal the story idea. No, I can't tell you. All right. Okay, now I don't want to tell you because I really want to. I could see this in a short film, but I don't want to tell you because someone will use it. Anyway, I'm sorry I took you down this road. I'm acting like I'm talking to two of my friends. There's a lot of y'all out there.
Yeah.
No, it's true. But I just want to, I just want to kind of not retire because I never will, but I just would like to just, live 4 months. This is what I would like to do. Live 4 months in Mexico, live 4 months in New York, live 4 months in Marrakesh. Did I answer your question?
Not really, but it's okay.
Yeah. What was the question?
What is something that you want us to take away, since you don't really want to be quote unquote remembered, but what do you want us to take away or meditate on from this film?
Oh, yeah. The idea that, never say die. Never say die. Never say die is an old expression, but it means, in the end of the day, never think something can't be done. And the truth of it really is how lucky some of us are to never think that they're old. And they live in the spirit of youthful mind because there's so much more to be done. And everyone is not meant to do what I did. That's really important. For those who feel like, oh God, who's going to take over when you're gone? The people. But not to feel like, I just feel so, when we're at film festivals and you're at Q&As, you hear so many people saying, I just want to do, they get inspired. But everyone's not meant to do certain things. We need people who support. Everyone's not meant to go out there and slay dragons. Some people, like I said about the Trojan horse. The Trojan horse is something that many people are to pull. We need soldiers. And then there's that one person who has the courage or they're born on earth to do certain things. And that's how I look at it. So when people say, well, who's going to take it when you are gone? It's not. It's all of us, really. I think that's the thing I like people to remember. Not to feel obligated, but to be very conscious. Be conscious. Don't think that you have to do this, but think that you have to be conscious of what's going on around you and really make sure that you are aware enough to be conscious to help us all get where we got to go. That's very important. We need more than one. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Beth.
I think we are at time, so we're going to start the screening. Thank you, Mama B. This was lovely.
No. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for coming to see the film. I'm very happy to have you all here to watch it.